have broken barriers in sales and marketing, being a woman? Well, everything that is coming first always will come with a bit of pain, right? Pain not just for the person, but also the others surrounding who are also sort of going through this new normal, right? So, in summary, if I talk about my journey, it was starting with, having a completely sheltered life in school, school to home, home to school, in between a typical Bengali household, you will have those music classes, you'll have those dance classes, but beyond that, that's it, okay? From that sheltered, protected life, you suddenly enter into the world of engineering, which is hostile. Well, now suddenly you have to do everything to fend for yourself. Then came, and when I thought that, okay, this is big change, and this is where it'll end. Guess what? Life threw another big surprise. Suddenly I was the area sales manager in the rural part of Eastern India. And that is, trust me, a tough journey. And I'll tell you more about it as I go on. And then of course after that, sitting in the boardroom as the CXO for 2 big FMCGs. So, hostel, it's pretty much like what you are experiencing. But the moment you became the ASM in East, area sales manager in the rural part of East, extremely unionized territory, challenges start at different levels. First is when your seniors are saying, hey, why a girl in this region, it's so unionized. How will she survive? Second is, okay, let us figure out which is the easiest location for her to be. Bihar? No. Can it be Orissa? Let's figure out. So there was all those questions going on in their mind. Which territory to give, which is safe enough? Then doubt, a bit of doubt among the seniors that, will she avoid field work? Because please understand, for them also, they are seeing a woman ASM for the first time. They didn't know how to deal with it. They were asking questions like, will she avoid market work? And vegan sales, trust me, market work is a must. To know your consumers, to know your retailers. And lastly, the most interesting part, the male counterparts. They used to feel that, we have to give her easier targets and we'll have to take the bulk of it, the balance, whatever was shortfall, we'll have to take of it. So all of these were murmurs that I kept on hearing as I entered. Next was what my subordinates thought about it. Now, being in the Eastern region at that point of time, I'm talking about 22 years back, you had subordinates who were all 40 plus. Long timers, you start in a company, you continue over there, all 40 plus and all men, all the others, almost knowing everything they had to know about the job. They also had questions. Madam will avoid market work and field visit, pretty much like the seniors. She will have to stay in a high-cost hotel. How will our budgets permit that? Because typically your field officers stay in the same hotel as you so that if there is any other work during the day left, you'll have to do it. Best part was the sympathy that came in from them. At that point of time, we were expected to do 40 outlets a day, visit 40 outlets. So you start at 9 a.m. and you end at 1, and trust me guys, you have to go through it, okay? Unfortunately or fortunately. I used to be told by my team, ma'am, 1-2 outlets kar lo, do only 1-2 outlets, after that you can sit at the distributor's room. We will do the rest of it and give you the market feedback. So while they were obviously trying to make things easy, basis their own biases and assumptions that I won't be able to work in the heat, the reality was that expectation that she'll only be able to do this much. The best part was the sympathy that I got. Okay, I'll tell you. Tell me if this doesn't surprise you. Ma'am ko ladka nahi mil raha hai kya shaadi karne ke liye? Is she not getting a groom to get married? Why is she working in the market like this? Maybe because she is not getting married or finding a groom, she has to work it out and earn her own money. Second perception. Maybe ma'am is not that good in studies. That's why she didn't get work in the AC office. She has to toil in the market like the men. What difficult life. So I got all the sympathetic, empathetic, all of these questions and doubts. So the biggest task I had after the first few days of hearing all these murmurs across was to prove them all wrong, and prove them wrong not by arguing with them, not with words, but with actions. So what I tried to do was take them all head on. So essentially what I used to do is, it was rural market while I was based out of Kolkata. I had to ensure that I am the first one to get to the market. Yeah, and that actually was challenging because my day started at 5:30 in the morning, as I had to take the train from Howrah station and then go to the upcountry market, reach there by 9 o'clock before my sales team, so that I didn't get to hear that ma'am is always late to the market. So first is dispelling those basic physical doubts. Second is, I used to plan out my month in a way, because it was upcountry, it was not possible to come back home every day to Kolkata. So there were times when I had to spend days together in the upcountry market, but then a proper scheduling always helped me, because I kept my team informed. They would also ensure that all of it was in place. Third is me using my strength that the sales team did not have. Like I told you in the beginning, they were all 40 years old. They thought they knew it all. So my strength was data analysis, which is something that they had no clue about. See, that was the time when laptops had just started happening. That was the time, 20 years back, when the concept of MIS, information system, had just started. And I realized that they were not aware of all of those and even advantages of those. Hence, for me to use my strength of data analytics, helping them look at these are the gaps and this is where you can get your targets done, that really helped. Because suddenly it was an eye-opener to them, and within few months I actually saw them looking up to me to give them direction, which was a change from earlier, where they thought they had to mother me. Second, and of course the big thing that I did was expect no special treatment. So if they were eating in a dhaba because their budgets allowed them to, I would go with them to that dhaba. I would never expect to go to a hotel like they were eating somewhere else. So being with them also made them feel like I was a part of the team. And the biggest thing that happened was, and we were discussing this over lunch, right? Ladies, accept it or not, it is still a boys' club. The more you rise up at the top, it will still become more and more of them. How do you make yourself heard? Because whatever you say, if you raise your voice a bit, it'll be aggression. Same thing a man would say would become assertiveness. So balancing out that. Instead of shouting, stating data, stating facts to make your point, to make it impactful, is what was required, and which is something that sustains you to remain at each and every level relevant. Yeah. And hence the biggest reward was targets happening, etc. All of that obviously came, because when you plan it out, targets will happen. The best recognition was when my boss had told, Shoma's, so I was called as Shoma, nobody bothered to take that huge Somasree name. Shoma's was the only territory that I did not have to travel to, and still the numbers happened. And when he said that in a room full of men, where he was obviously pointing out to them, saying that he had to go to their territory. To me, that was the biggest acknowledgement that sort of came out. Of course, with all of that, I got the opportunity to get into marketing, and then challenges did not end there. Because when I joined, obviously I wasn't married. Next thing that happened was marriage happened, motherhood happened, family balances, all of that, family priorities, all of that came in. At the same time, it was all about fast-track career promotions. Do I do this? Do I do that? How did, and you know, at these times I'll be dishonest to say that there were no moments of self-doubts. However, how I managed was two things. One is focus, and second is support all across. So when I talk about what were the things that I really did at that point of time, I took all the stretch assignments, all the assignments that were given to me, especially even when I had a small kid, even when I had just got married and there were expectations, I still ensured I took all the challenges. But while taking those challenges, I used to work on balancing it by taking all the help I could. I took help of all the organizational policies, and they had started with a lot of women-friendly policies at that point of time. I lent in on all of the supports. I'm sure you guys will have read. If not read, please read the book Lean In. Take all the support that you can from your family, from your spouse, from your colleagues, from the organization to ensure that you get to focus on your work as well. And the second thing, of course, partner comes in. Good choice of partner really helps, honestly, because he is the one who will help you create the balance while ensuring things are peaceful at home. And yes, the reward obviously came over there when in 18.5 years, I traversed the journey from a management trainee to a CXO in the same organization, and then moved on to work in another big organization. So in short, if I have to really summarize, there is no shortcut to success. You have to really go through it all. There's no shortcut. And more importantly, we always talk about hard work versus smart work, hard work versus smart work. Of course it is hard work versus smart work. Smart work is what it should be, but even to know what is smart work, what is smart, you have to initially go through the ground to know what can be substituted with that smart work. So you have to go through the ground in the initial part of your career. And that will enable smart work in the going forward stages. And lastly, work-life balance is not something that is given to you by default or happens to you by default or luck. You have to work towards it. You have to create a balance at work. There were times, when at work, when my baby happened, after those 6 months of maternity leave, I hardly used to socialize, at least for that 1 year. I felt bad about it, but sometimes you have to sacrifice for a larger good. Maybe social life suffered at that point of time for that 1 year, but that's okay. If they are really good friends, they will remain with you. Focus, do what is right at that time, balance out work. It's all up to you. You have to do it, nobody will give it to you in a platter. So yeah, I think that's about it from me. I hope that was useful for you all from a learning perspective.